It's 12:23 and my third upload for today is with regard to the injustice, discrimination and inequality aspects of human rights abuses that the United Nations organisation does not under any circumstance appreciate. So as a law-abiding citizen of humanitarian protection, I am going to share about the issue of inequality, discrimination, and particularly injustice. Now, as I've mentioned, there have been responsibilities shirked since this vendetta of hate crime, treason, constitutional wrongdoings, and human rights abuses commenced against my good name and my good character and my good reputation. I'm currently experiencing denigration and debasement imposed by individuals that have been financially exploiting from my property and patronage and my profession and purpose. Now, I can't say it enough, reiterate it enough, or just make the most important point about the tax evasion issue that has been occurring also, and the role that I have played in debt recovery. But the matter of injustice, discrimination and inequality that I'm currently experiencing is quite dangerous. Now, as I've mentioned, there's been quite a substantial amount of theft from my properties in Tubbard Hill and Kilflynn and from my royal patronage. There's also been harms and theft of my child's belongings. So the issue of the authorities being a factor in this matter, and particularly the role of the United Nations to circumvent dirty politics, where they have shirked their responsibilities and considered themselves above the constitution of this country, and they only elected representatives. So the individuals that decide to turn a blind eye and politely cause further theft of my property and patronage by means of informal or formal behaviours, such as, for example, people trying to pursue search warrants, people trying to, trespass into properties and lay claim to my personal belongings, which is presently the circumstance, and this is in the midst of treason. So the issue that I'm raising is for the United Nations, and the issue of all aspects that I've raised throughout this documentary regarding the theft and fraud that I've encountered since becoming a mother, a married mother, I might add. So the relevant bodies and agencies have thought from their exploitation and developments in this country, which have been new developments that have arisen from my profession and purpose, that they unlawfully accessed and imposed upon and illegally conducted. These individuals that have been unethical and immoral and laid claim to property and patronage of royalty that they have no right to are yet again in pursuance of further theft from my fortunes and from my patronage. So the United Nations is aware of the fraud and the tax evasion of this country and the effects that the debt recovery has had at home and abroad. So I'm really curious how a law-abiding citizen of a royal title, a private citizen, a peaceful citizen, is being violated so insanely. It's absolutely embarrassing for the women and children's rights issues that have been occurring also from this circumstance, particularly when my child is missing. So rather than focus on fixing the problems that have been caused unjustifiably for my child and I'm really curious how it's justified that any more insane behaviours would be conducted when there's already been so many damages by those culpable of the very serious offences that they've already been causing. So the other issue is with regard to the legislation developments that have been happening in the area of criminal justice and my role that I played in that new change in this country also. The issue of people negating and disrespecting and denying and refuting the reality while conducting very insulting behaviours is really, really serious. So those that are disrespecting the concepts of humanitarian protection, royal patronage, the state protection, all of these matters as a means to procure from my properties are acting against the law, and I have huge respect for the law. I have huge respect for justice. I have always respected the authorities and their very difficult role in society. Now, any repeat offences of any kind of wrongdoings against a mother, a married mother, and my farms, I find very, very serious. So I'd like the relevant bodies, particularly the United Nations, to acknowledge the role I've played in debt recovery and healthcare developments in this country, and my ownership of those achievements and accomplishments, and also the area of criminal justice as well. That has been a new legislative change in this country. So the people that have been obstructing my path and obstructing my road to Tupperwood Hill, my family home, I'd appreciate you minding your own families and your own homesteads, and I'd appreciate those that have intentions or objectives to cause homelessness to a property owner and to cause any further assaults to my bodily anatomy or my bodily integrity, to consider the implications of the damages that have already been caused and the casualties that have arisen from this entire charade since 2017. So the legalities and the issue of injustice and individuals taking ownership of any developments, be it in healthcare or in criminal justice and reforms, etc., and legislation. I'd really appreciate everybody having a good assessment of this circumstance, and I'd appreciate my rights being respected. I'm fully aware of the very disingenuous individuals in society that have no respect for the progress that I have initiated or the recovery that I have initiated. So the relevant bodies, you'll be receiving this upload from me with regard to the problems that are being caused by people that can't fix the problems they're causing and that are in a position and objective manner exacerbating their offences against my good name and my good character and reputation. And I'd also appreciate the authorities doing their best to locate my beautiful child, Garrod McElligott, and those people trespassing on my farm holdings. I'd appreciate the authorities removing them.